He stood at a cold bus stop, tightly gripping the straps of his worn-out backpack. The autumn wind cut through his thin jacket, but he barely felt it. He was only 10 years old, yet that day, he grew up all at once. His parents told him they would be back soon. "Wait here," they said. Those were the last words he ever heard from them. He waited for an hour. Then 2. Then it started getting dark. People came and went. Buses arrived and left. The city kept moving, but he stayed there. At first with hope. Then with worry. And finally with emptiness. They never came back. That night, strangers found him. Then the police. Then an orphanage. Everything happened so fast, like it wasn't even his life, just a scene from someone else's movie. But the pain was real. Life in the orphanage was harsh. There was no room for weakness. Every child survived in their own way. Some became aggressive. Some shut down completely. He chose a different path. He watched, he listened, he endured. For the first few months, he barely spoke. He just observed people. Tried to understand one thing. Why do some people break while others keep going? One day, he overheard a caregiver say, "Kids like him rarely succeed. They don't have a foundation." Those words stayed in his mind. No foundation. That night, lying on a hard bed and staring at the ceiling, he made a decision. If I don't have a foundation, I'll build one myself. From that moment, everything changed. He started reading. Old, dusty books, anything he could find. Sometimes he didn't understand half of it, but he kept going. He was learning how to think. How to question. While other kids were playing outside, he sat in a corner with a notebook, writing down ideas. Why are some people rich and others not? What matters more, luck or hard work? Can you change your destiny? They laughed at him. Called him weird. But he no longer needed their approval. At 14, he earned his first money, helping unload a truck. His hands hurt, his back ached, but when he held those bills, he stared at them like they were something unreal. That wasn't just money. It was proof. He could rely on himself. From then on, he took any job he could find. Washing cars, carrying heavy boxes, handing out flyers. Sometimes he was cheated. Sometimes he wasn't paid. Sometimes he was treated like he didn't matter. But every failure only made him stronger. He realized something important. The world isn't fair. But that's not an excuse to give up. By 16, he was thinking differently. Not like a child. He analyzed people. Spotted opportunities others didn't see. He started saving money, every single coin. Sometimes, he allowed himself to dream. Not about expensive things. About freedom. About the day he wouldn't have to depend on anyone. At 18, he left the orphanage. One bag. A small amount of savings. And a massive goal inside him. The first months were brutal. He rented a tiny, worn-out room. Worked non-stop. Slept 4 hours a night, sometimes less. There were days when he ate only once. There were moments when he sat on the floor, leaning against the wall, thinking, maybe they were right, maybe I am nobody. But every time, he remembered that bus stop. The cold. The silence. The feeling of being left behind. And something inside him lit up again. I will prove them wrong. First of all, to myself. He started searching for opportunities. Reading about business. Watching how others worked. Learning from mistakes. One day, he noticed something simple. People are willing to pay for convenience. And that's when he got an idea. Risky. Almost crazy. But he took the chance. He invested everything he had. Every last dollar. The first months were a disaster. Losses. Mistakes. Stress. He almost lost everything. People told him again, "This isn't for you. You won't make it. Go back to a normal job." But going back was no longer an option. He had come too far. So he started again. Improved the idea. Changed his approach. Worked harder. Learned faster. And then it happened. His first real success. Then another. Then stability. Then growth. Years passed. He stopped counting money and started counting opportunities. He built a company. A team. A life he once could only imagine. But deep inside, he still remembered that boy at the bus stop. One day, many years later, he returned there. The same place. The same wind. The same cold air. He stood there, looking at the road. Now, he had everything he once dreamed of. But more importantly, he had strength. He smiled quietly and said, "You thought you broke me, but you made me stronger." Then he turned and walked away. No longer a forgotten child, but a man who built his life from nothing.